It's like a fucking game. I'm only good at picking up guys.
Yeah,
no one's surprised.
Didn't you say to that one guy?
I studied theater.
Something about murdering her or something?
Yeah.
Welcome, residents, to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is Colin, and next to me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
And as always, we are joined by our producer, Richard.
Ahoy, hoy.
Each week, we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions from listeners like you. Well, in a drunk old man voice, recite the speech from Team America World Police. Richard knows which one.
Yeah, I thought about actually going to get it, and then I decided I wasn't going to, and I was just literally going to copy and paste that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's amazing.
I think we all know which speech.
Because fuck that guy.
This is what Colin does.
Yeah, he sent us a nice review.
Comes with a 5-star review on iTunes from Dr. Dick. They go on to say, love the podcast. It has renewed my interest in comics. After listening to one of the casts, I nerd out on a comic book, and I don't hate myself. Thanks for that.
That's awesome. That's a really lovely, genuine thing to say.
Attached to
what, if we had gone with it, would have been a weird, divergent,
and a really
two-minute rant about
I was
going
to say, yeah, because I looked it up and I was like, oh yeah, that, and I was like, that's so long. I'm not I love to torture Colin, but that's torturing me, and that's not any fun.
It's very long,
and I would have done it in a weird way too.
Well, you would have done it the way you do everything, which is you'd
monotone and as if he doesn't care.
You'd say 3 words and then be like, "Oh, this fucking," and then you'd say 3 more words and be like, "You know what? No, let's just take a minute. When you send your reviews, you need to go off on the person too."
Who?
Thanks for taking that away from me today, both of you.
Well, I've been working on my Colin impression. You don't need to know why.
Hey, me too.
I'm notorious for fucking this up.
That's really
Is that good?
That was bang on.
You looked like a ventriloquist dummy when you did that.
I'm pretty good at that. I can do you too.
Just look like a dummy.
Thank you, plebeian. Holy shit, you've got both of us. Wow.
That's right. One step closer to not needing you at all. Well, I've not needed Colin since the beginning, but
I'm a little necessary for this show.
Are you?
I can do it.
You're a derlin.
See?
Yeah, that's all I contribute.
I saw this podcast needs to be is just quick jokes and Martha, and then I'm done.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now on to the poll list.
Oh, doctor, what are you looking at?
Yo, there's no news. Amazing.
Oh, yeah, there is news. I don't know why I didn't put that in there.
No, that's all right.
No, it's okay. I got a ton of news.
Yeah, okay. Do you have it there?
I may have deleted it.
That's okay. There's a couple of things I remember.
Yes.
So one is that Jeff Johns has stepped down as he was president of DC Entertainment or something like that, and also the chief creative officer. He stepped down from that role to instead take on he's going back to writing and that. So he's going to be the writer on Green Lantern Corps, the movie. And
yeah, well, I mean, that's really what I think
that's his strength, right? Is the creative stuff. And I think putting him in that exec role, that was him out of his element, right? Running the business side of DC.
Well, he was supposed to be the Kevin Feige of the DC world. The problem was that producers had the DC execs had so much more control over it, and so he couldn't really get that whole craft a universe thing that Kevin was.
Well,
good
yeah,
for.
because he's dealing with Warner Brothers above them in a way that Marvel doesn't really deal with Disney.
Exactly.
Yeah, so there's that. And yeah, I just don't think it was playing to his strengths. I mean, the stuff that Jeff Johns is known for and loved for is the creative side, reinventing old characters, taking weird Silver Age concepts and making them interesting again. Black Hand was a nothing Green Lantern villain, and he made him the center of Blackest Night, which is still, I think, one of the best Green Lantern stories. Yeah, I mean, so I think he's also excited to do that. But then in his place, Jim Lee, who's been a co-publisher at DC for a long time, is moving up to the chief creative officer role.
How are you feeling about that?
Good, actually, because Jim Lee has spent more time on the business side of things. Him and Dan DiDio have been co-publishers for quite some time now.
Yeah.
And so, he's recused himself from a lot of like of like doing art actively on issue. He might do like the odd issue or some like covers and that, but he doesn't really like work on a title anymore because he is already working more on the business side. So I think that's a better fit than Jeff Johns ever was.
No, absolutely. I definitely, I just want Jeff to start writing again anyway. So I think that's where he really shines. So
yeah.
I'm definitely into that. You know what? One of the things that we've been getting a lot these last couple of weeks is a lot of stuff has come out about the Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
We're getting tons of images and stuff. How are you feeling about that?
Awesome. So yeah, there have been some new like set photos. We've seen like I think it's probably like a prototype, but Black Manta helmet.
So we also seen a bunch of new characters beside Black Manta as well.
Yeah, so we've seen, we got a sort of behind over the shoulder shot of Vulko, which is Willem Dafoe's character. He plays like Aquaman's mentor. We've got our first shot of Patrick Wilson as Orm, as Ocean Master, which looks awesome. There's a couple of shots not in Atlantis as well of like Arthur and Mira and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. And James Wan announced that the trailer will make its like official debut at San Diego Comic-Con this year. So if it doesn't leak beforehand, we know it's about a month away, which is awesome. And then like to top all that off, we've been getting all sorts of like set photos and videos and things of Wonder Woman too. As they've been
Wonder Woman 1984.
Well, I don't know if
that's the official title.
Is you're supposed to call it Wonder Woman 1984?
I think it's Wonder Woman 84.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just knew it was set in 84.
No, that's the actual title now.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's going to be confusing for people that missed Wonder Woman's 2 through 83. But
yeah, it's just called Wonder Woman 84. The weirdest thing I've been seeing is like there's footage of just like slightly old Steve Trevor.
Well, so Steve Trevor's definitely in this movie.
But is weird.
Is he?
He looks slightly old. Have you seen the footage? The photo?
But not old enough to account for the time.
That's what I mean. That's what I don't get.
Is he actual Steve Trevor who was like mystically saved from that explosion, or is he someone posing as Steve Trevor, or is he a hallucination of Steve Trevor?
It's just weird that like the imagery of him looks like it's weird that it's just slightly older.
The other theory is that maybe he's like a son of Steve Trevor's. Like that thing where he's like, you look just like your father.
I mean,
could be that. We don't know that we don't really know what angle they're taking with that yet. I'm okay to leave that a bit of a mystery. It makes me want to see the movie. I want to figure out why Steve is there.
Is there any sort of like doppelganger characters that could like pretend to be him?
Well, especially when you get into magic stuff, it could be. So Pedro Pascal, who was on Game of Thrones, he played Oberyn Martell.
Yeah,
he got his skull crushed.
Oh yeah.
He is in this movie, but they haven't given him they haven't named what his role is yet. It's possible because Cheetah is also in this movie. Maybe he's playing the god from whom she gets her powers. Maybe he's playing Urtz Kartaga. And when you bring magic into it, he could maybe assume the form of whoever he wants. Or I threw out a few episodes ago, maybe he's Dr. Psycho, a different Wonder Woman villain who has like mental, like illusion casting abilities and things like that. There's lots of ways that it could go, or it could legitimately be Steve Trevor, who by some miraculous means survived his explosion and lived until the 80s.
Well, is there anything that Cheetah is supposed to be the villain in this. Is there anything that she could do that?
Specifically her, no, but possibly, like I said, through the magic of like Urtz Kartaga or something like that, possibly. But her herself, she doesn't have a power that would account for that.
No, I mean, it's not like, because she can generally like, I know that she, like with her bite, that she can like transfer her powers to somebody, but it's not like Steve has like whiskers or something. Like,
no, it's not. That would be funny if we saw him and he had like
ooh, Stevie's like pretty kitty.
If he had the motion capture dots on his face, you'd be like, oh, he's a cat.
Oh yeah, I always knew he was a pussy.
Oh, Jesus. The one thing I wanted to mention, I just saw it today. There was a video from the set of Wonder Woman 2, and it's her on wires being sort of dragged just off the ground. Like she's like hovering and being pulled through a street, but she's got her knees up and her hands out. So everyone's like, is she flying the invisible jet? Is the invisible jet?
Oh my God. Seriously?
Movie?
They finally are going to do it?
Which would be dope. So yeah, I mean, who knows? It could be anything. It could be like a decoy thing, you know, like they're filming a scene that like homages the invisible jet, but it's not actually the invisible jet.
It's
But
an invisible motorcycle.
could be. Who knows, right?
The invisible moped.
the invisible moped. Yeah. Yeah, they're filming in Rome in the 50s.
Well, no, it's 1984
Yeah, no, I know. That's why those
when mopeds were cool again.
were they cool
The
again?
60s.
Were they
actually.
cool in the 80s?
Were you cool in the 80s?
Maybe in like Italy.
I was barely
Italy in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll 80s.
Italy 80s. You know who's also making it's in a bunch, who's in the news a bunch this week is Tom King.
Yeah, so Tom, I mean, it's talk shows, like late night talk shows, have basically become someone has something to like sell, like a movie or a book or something, and then they do the talk show circuit. It's not really about the talking anymore. So because of that, you don't get as many like other kind of guests as you usually would. You know, like you used to get like, here's the animal expert, or like segments like that don't happen quite as much anymore.
Are you referencing Johnny Carson right now?
I mean, a little bit.
How
Yeah.
old are you?
I was about to do the Johnny Carson where he's like where he like guesses. So
Old enough.
they don't do that very much anymore. But it was kind of interesting that Tom King, who is a prolific now comic book writer for DC, made it to Late Night with Seth Meyers. He was technically pitching something, but his he's writing Mr. Miracle, which is a like standout success right now, and that series isn't over yet. He's the current writer of Batman. He's written other things for DC, and he used to be like a CIA counterterrorism agent. So he like is infusing sort of his knowledge of
nuts.
that world to bring some authenticity to some of these other things. You know, like I would imagine that interrogation scenes in those Batman comics are a lot closer to reality than maybe they have been in the past.
But do you remember what he was announcing? Because there was a couple things.
Yeah, so forever ago in the news, we talked about a thing called Sanctuary. Yeah. Which was going to be like, it was supposed to be like a space for heroes to deal with like their PTSD or deal with like the emotional impact of being a hero. And so... But we never really heard what was happening with that. So it's finally announced that it's going to be a series, like a limited series called Heroes in Crisis. I think it starts in September.
Which is like, it's like the next like sort of like the hashtag crisis events for DC.
It is, but he's been very careful to say like, this is not like the multiverse collapsing. This is not like an invasion from another world. This is like an emotional crisis. Yeah. More like closer in many ways, I would imagine, to what Identity Crisis was. Like that story, which was a murder mystery that like tore the Justice League apart, basically. So Heroes in Crisis.
Just talking about tearing the Justice League apart, you know.
Well, that's fair. Although that brought them together. But yeah, so this series is going to be about this Sanctuary. It's going to be about the emotional fallout.
Sanctuary. I think I did that last time too.
Yeah. The emotional fallout of heroism and that. I'm excited to see it, especially from a writer like him who has this like life experience of sort of this other world where you're probably dealing with these very sort of high stakes, takes an emotional toll, that kind of work. I'm excited and interested to see where it goes. So
Colin, we've talked a little bit about this before, but now it's finally confirmed, and I want to know what you think about it. Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker is finally confirmed, and we're actually getting a film date started.
Well, yeah.
So for a proper Joker film?
DC's basically announcing like a whole new sort of like film line that's going to be separate from like the major universe.
Yeah.
Stop moving.
So basically this movie...
Or take off the headphones.
This movie won't be set in the DCEU. It won't be part of the same world as Suicide Squad or Justice League. It'll be its own thing. But yeah, it's a Joker origin movie starring Joaquin Phoenix. It's like a $50 million budget. It's
do you like Joaquin
cheap
Phoenix?
Movie.
Joaquin.
He's really building up to this. I don't think he likes Joaquin Phoenix.
There's a raven outside right now. So that's a really bad omen. I think that if anyone were to have to follow up doing the Joker properly, in the 21st century, in a time after nightmare that was Suicide Squad.
But then also Heath Ledger.
And that was the like incredibly well done, gifted Heath Ledger's Joker. Yeah. I think Joaquin Phoenix
is the appropriate choice.
He's the guy.
More so than Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
Really?
I feel like he'd play it way like understated. And there are comic versions of the Joker that line up with that, I think.
The thing about this, if we're looking at it as an origin story, is that Joaquin Phoenix, as a young man, lost his best friend and his brother.
Really?
The same guy.
Yeah.
To an overdose outside of a club in downtown
River
LA.
Phoenix from
River Phoenix.
Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah. He did.
Yeah. He had a... What was it? Like
yes,
he had
sensitively put.
He had an overdose and died like outside the front doors of this nightclub.
Yeah.
So I think that if somebody can draw from loss and pain and like a true origin story, I think Joaquin Phoenix can like pull it to
Well,
life.
we already know that he's the type of actor that really like goes to that space.
The thing that scares me about him doing it though is that
he
like,
going to come back? A Joker tends to take characters away from us. Yeah.
Does he not make it through?
I don't think it's going to be quite that devastating. But
it's happened. Imagine if that was just like the curse of the Joker.
I mean, it's only happened once.
It's either going to suck or it's going to kill the actor.
I mean, again, it's only happened once. And that might be a stretch to say that's specifically what did it, but I don't love Joaquin Phoenix, but
Heath Ledger died while shooting for another film.
Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, yeah. The thing that interests me about this movie more than Joaquin Phoenix is that it's for a superhero, quote unquote, movie. It's a relatively low budget. It's like $50 million, which makes me think it's going to be very like not very bombastic. You know, like I said, kind of like toned
which I
down,
think it needs to be. Well,
character piece, that sort of thing. That interests me. I mean, I'll definitely end up seeing it. I think I'm kidding anyone if I said that I was like, no, I'm not going to go. But I don't know that I'm the most excited for it, but I'm interested. I want to see where they go with it.
I think this could be one of those movies that is, and again, I could be dead wrong on this, but I think it's one of these films that could end up being like a cult classic and like a low-key favorite for a lot of comic book fans and people who aren't.
Well, they're going to have to give something to the fans because we're apparently getting the Jared Leto solo movie as well.
That one I won't see.
What?
Jared Leto Joker movie's happening as well.
Why?
I have no idea. It was announced.
I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in Birds of Prey. I don't want to completely get rid of those DCEU characters. I don't even care if the Joker shows up in those, like Leto's Joker shows up in those movies. I don't know that I want his movie though. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to jump in here and just kind of like make sure that I'm saying this correct.
Yes.
I don't have a problem with Jared Leto as a musician. I don't even have a problem with Jared Leto as an actor. He's done fantastic work.
Absolutely.
What I have a huge problem with is him as the Joker.
Yeah, you didn't like it at all.
The end.
But was that his take or the way that it was filmed and edited?
Well, it's definitely his take.
It was both.
No. I mean, is that the issue?
It was both for me.
Okay, so I see what Richard's saying. So Colin, you why don't you maybe touch on A, what you didn't like about like his take on the Joker, but B, do you think maybe if there was like more of him or if his arc, like if the writing of that story was a little more cohesive, that you would have had time to warm up to his interpretation? Or
not at all. Because what I saw was a lot of Jack Nicholson poorly done.
I mean, I could see
he was like thugged Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, he was like
it was
like a young gangster.
For modern day.
Yeah, and it just like don't get me wrong, he did his best. He went out there and gave what he thought was going to be an accurate representation. The problem there is that he was doing an impersonation of Jack Nicholson's Joker while trying to take it way over the top and try to like I think a lot of it came down to he was trying to be crazy when what it called for was like
I think he didn't,
something more.
I don't think he got what the Joker was, in my opinion. He heard like a log line and saw like what the you know what I mean? Like I don't think he understood.
There are brief moments in his performance that I really like, but they're super understated. But they're the jokes. You know, like the thing with Heath Ledger's Joker is that movie is dark, but Heath Ledger's Joker is to him, like in his world, the funniest person in the room.
Yeah.
That magic trick thing is like supremely disturbing for us to watch.
Yeah.
But like for him, he was like, "Do you get it as a magic trick? I'm gonna put a pencil through his skull." He's the funniest guy in the room.
Weird about that for me is that I get that like there's a part of me that thinks that he just like tapped into his own personal Tommy Wiseau as well.
Yeah, but for Leto's Joker, there are a couple of very they're almost like 2-second long kind of moment. Like there's one where they go to that place where they make the bombs that are in the Suicide Squad's neck, and he, the scientist has to let him in because he's got the scientist's wife, and he just walks in and he picks up one of the guns. He goes like, "Oh, this looks neat," and he gives the guy a bomb. Like that to me, I was like, yes, there we go. That's a Joker. Not even necessarily one that I love, but that's a Joker. And then the flip side was the thing I didn't like that scene with Common. He's just too serious. He's not joking. I don't know if that was what they were going for, but I didn't like that.
He was like a young, tattooed out street tough.
I'm okay with seeing that character in other movies, but I don't want to see his movie. I just have zero interest.
It's just I thought it was the year of Superman. It seems to be the year of Joker, because now we're getting like at least 2 movies. Plus, Jeff Johns just announced that like he's bringing us 3 Jokers series.
Is it 3 different Joker series?
A new 3 Jokers series.
Well, yeah, because Jeff Johns wrote. Did he? Yes, he did. He wrote the Darkseid War arc, and Batman briefly became the new god of knowledge, and he asked the Mobius chair, which knows everything. He asked, "Who is the Joker?"
Yeah.
And it told him there are 3. And he was like, "No, that's not possible." So, but that's been a loose end. We haven't actually figured out what that means. There are 3 different Jokers. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see that. I'm excited in a way, for that Joaquin Phoenix one. I'm not really excited for Jared Leto's one, but yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? But I think that the overall sort of note on...
What are you going to do? You're going to not buy a ticket. That's what you're not going to do. You're not going to support this nonsense going on.
I likely won't. Although again, I'd be lying if I said...
I'm not saying it to you. I'm saying it to people listening.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I'd be lying if I said...
Don't support this bullshit.
I'll never see it, but it might be either illicitly or on DVD or something like that.
Yeah, if it's on Netflix.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I'm not paying extra money for that shit.
Or if it comes out and all of a sudden it's way better than we expect it to be, then yeah, I'll give it a shot. But I think just like opening weekend, you won't see me there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now on to this week's theme, Fanstravaganza.
Let's do the doctor's polls again.
Okay, fine, we'll do the doctor's polls.
It's okay, you already recorded you doing it once well. So, Doc, what are you reading, listening to, watching? What are you doing?
I've got 2. One is something that's like currently coming out, and one is like an old series that was given to me that is just wild.
And the third thing is how the Doc is coming out for what he's watching right now.
Hey, Queer Eye is the greatest piece of television amazing. I've seen in so long.
That's why I'm wearing this cactus print shirt.
God, you look so fetch.
Because Tan has got me like...
Hey, I don't see a French tuck.
You know what? I almost French tucked before I walked in.
Can I tell you? I French tucked yesterday, so...
I almost did it. So
I'm a French tucking motherfucker.
I like that the cacti on his shirt actually matches shorts.
God damn, I know. I want those that shirt. I want those short. I think I actually have those shirts, but...
Excuse me.
I've got ones that are hot pink, too. So good.
Yeah, if you're not watching Queer Eye, watch Queer Eye.
Seriously.
Welcome to the Dr. Queer Eye podcast.
Don't even joke about that. I'd make that.
Yo, let's do it. Let's just end this recording right now.
Why does everything have to be the Doctor something podcast?
Fine. It'd be the Marquis de Queer Eye podcast. Yeah, so I'm currently reading Doomsday Clock, and issue number 5 just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Because it's moved to like every 2 months, which is super painful. But this issue is really interesting because we're starting to get the idea that some of these loose ends from the DC Universe Rebirth special are finally coming back. So Saturn Girl, like a sort of lost member of the Legion of Superheroes stuck in the 20th century, but she has psychic powers. She's like woven into this story now with the new Rorschach. Johnny Thunder, an old man who can't remember like the words to summon the Thunderbolts to be superpowered again. He's trying to find his Justice Society friends, and spoilers, at the end of the issue, Rorschach, Johnny Thunder, and Saturn Girl find Alan Scott's lantern.
Say what?
Yeah, which is dope.
They're all same phone. Who dis?
So,
Right?
like we're building this sort of big, to use the word, rebirth of the Justice Society and I think the Legion of Superheroes, and it's all tied into this like bigger story with Watchmen characters and where's Dr. Manhattan, and yeah, I mean it's awesome.
And Who Framed Roger Rabbit? They're all there.
The most ambitious crossover of all time.
Seriously though.
Batman and Ozymandias met in that issue. I'm really, really liking it. The only thing that frustrates me is it comes out every 2 months.
Yeah.
The other thing that I got it as a gift for Father's Day.
Oh yeah, you're a dad.
Yeah. Have I not mentioned that?
Yeah. You guys have got a kid.
I got a 4-issue miniseries that came out like 80s, I guess.
I'm a father.
I know I had that somewhere.
Yeah, there we go.
Really got to get quicker at this.
It's called World of Smallville. And I was like, okay, I haven't read this. I actually don't know very much about this series. I started reading it, and basically the premise is that Clark goes back to Smallville to visit his parents, to visit the Kents.
And sounds like a comic book I like.
Just wait. And they sit down and explain to Clark that Ma Kent used to be married to someone else.
Say what?
That's what the comic book is.
That sounds like a comic book I'd like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, it's interesting because you see like young John and Martha Kent, and in that continuity they were like older. Like the Kents in the comics used to be like seniors when they found him. Like they were old. So you're getting like wartime kind of stuff, or like immediately post-war. So it's interesting. It's just like kind of a weird series.
I wonder if they're going to do like what the Simpsons do, like over the years, and you're like when like the age they started is going to get later and later, and you're going to get like 90s like Mom Pa Kent.
I mean, they kind of do have to do that every few years to sort of like adjust the time frame. They, in general, the rule in comics, I think, is try not to name too many specific years or things, but like
just have it. Well, that's a great thing about the farm. It can like kind of look like ambiguously all the years.
Well, and Colin knows this because I've given him 2 different Ragman #1s to read, the original and like the most recent one.
Yeah,
and so he knows that like it's no longer the Vietnam War, but they still put him as a veteran.
It's the war.
It's a combat thing. Like they do that kind of thing too, like little updates to because it can't be Vietnam, or Ragman would be like 70.
When I was your age.
Yeah, basically.
So
what do you? Oh, and I finished Black Lightning.
And I sure finished it.
It's not bad, but it could have been like 7 or 8 episodes, not 13.
Yeah,
I think that was its issue. But
really? That was only its issue?
Well,
not a specific actor?
James Remar?
Yeah.
No, I think that the big issue is just how slow it was. I think if it was 8 episodes, it would have felt really like jam-packed.
Yeah.
At 13, it felt thin. Because they weren't really doing villain of the week things like you do on The Flash. It was just the one like season arc. And so I didn't feel like there was enough in there to earn how long that season was.
Colin, do you have any interest in watching Black Lightning?
Ignore the fact that I just said it's a really slow.
He's black. He's got lightning. Any interest? No. What would pull you into a TV show? Like what could we tell you that you'd be like, oh, I'm interested in that?
So
it's a wood building reality show competition. They just happen to have superpowers.
So to begin with, fuck you. That was actually.
They call me the Lathe.
Got hardwood.
Oh, I have softwood.
There's medication.
Yeah, what would get you into a TV show?
If they could do a show, and I think I've said this before, if they did a show with somebody like Joseph Gordon-Levitt as like young-ish Batman, I don't mean like a child Batman, I mean like in his late 20s, early 30s Batman. Not jumping too fast through it. Like I think like really doing a solid build on it to not pander to comic book fans.
So first season of Gotham, you would like.
That's true.
Second season, it would reverse everything you just said, and you'd hate it. But first season, you'd like.
Absolutely.
So but if they I don't want because I don't need an origin story on that. I want the part in his life where he's like coming to terms with what it is to be an adult, like a proper adult, not like, oh, I turned 18, I can buy cigarettes. Kind of thing. But like a proper adult where you're making those big life choices.
So it's not necessarily.
Do I have a family? Do I follow my career?
It's not necessarily the origin of the superhero. It's the but the origin of like the person they will be.
Yeah. So like he's like a proper detective, not just like has a fucking $1 billion and is living in a
first season.
Sure. Yeah, you'd like the first season of Gotham.
I think we might have to get you to watch
if you go into Gotham not thinking of it as a Batman show, but thinking of it as like Jim Gordon. Like it's Commissioner Gordon Begins, basically. I think then it ticks like all of those things you just said. I think you'd actually really like it.
Is that like, would that work for any other hero? Like, is it just about being grounded and like showing more like real world? Like,
well, I think this is why I'm really excited about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Because I think that it's going to show not like the chaotic insanity side. It's
not about big explosions and stuff.
No, it's not going to be about the gun that flashes and says bang. It's not going to be like the cartoony thing. It's going to be like the reality thing. Where it's like he loses his wife.
The mental illness behind it.
Especially if they pull from Killing Joke.
Oh, my God, man. Like that I think needs to happen in a Joker origin film or just a Joker proper film.
Yeah.
I think you have to show that side of him, that like where he truly comes undone.
Yeah.
Where he hits rock bottom in a way that isn't cartoony and lavish and over the top.
Sure.
And like to have it just be very human.
Right.
Before he then, by the end of the film kind of has that like crack moment.
So like, can we transpose this into a different hero? Like what if it was the Ragman show? What would pull you in to actually watch that?
Yeah. Give us your like short pitch for a Ragman show.
It would be the end of the Vietnam War, him coming home, having tons of PSD issues, not really searching for work, but seeing that his dad needs him around more and more kind of thing. That loss of love with his love interest. And then by the end, like if it was a feature film, by the end of the film, having that climax moment of why he becomes a superhero rather than getting to that at the beginning and all this flashy bullshit throughout.
So it'd almost be the reverse. Like he'd maybe get his powers earlier in the movie, but then it's whether or not he should use them or that sort of thing.
I mean like towards the end of the film, in the denouement, you get him getting his superpower.
Oh, like the whole film, right? Oh, okay. If this was a season of TV, you would end season 1 with him getting his powers.
Yes, because I think what you need what you need to do is build the character of who he actually is as a person. And then by the end of it, you're realizing when he does get his powers, why he is in the second season going to do with his powers what he does with them.
You might also like the first season of Daredevil.
I was just going to say, or The Punisher, which is almost that exact same story. The Punisher is basically all about this guy who comes back from Iraq and has all of this PTSD and like has all of this he has to he's going on this killing spree because his family was murdered because of this government conspiracy, blah 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 blah. But the reality is he's doing all of this because he doesn't know how to live outside of the military. And
is it a conspiracy or is it the government?
It's the government, isn't it? Both? I don't know.
Yeah.
But no. I mean, it was really good. It's very long-winded, and it's a lot
I
of
think there is stuff out there that you would like, and maybe we haven't done a great job of pointing you to
in the right direction
that you'd actually take to.
I do like kind of the long con.
Yeah,
I do like the idea of like, I want to know why somebody does literally anything and everything that they do. I don't want to go into it like, oh, Superman is Superman because he's Superman. The end. Like, I want to know like what it is about a character and their character as people.
He might like Man of Steel. Man of Steel's kind of like that.
Might be the last like ditch effort to get him into Superman, besides Superman for all seasons, obviously. But yes, which is
the film Man of Steel kind of treats Superman that way.
We might have to do that. Yeah. So speaking of the Man of Steel, what I have been watching is I'm halfway through The Death of Superman.
I was going to say,
is it out?
Porn. Don't worry about it. But yeah.
Oh yeah, the official screener we got.
Yeah, it's available.
Yeah,
and I made sure that I got it.
It's around in the shadows,
and it's better than the trailer so far.
Well, good.
Hey. Suicide Squad. It's not always a given.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what? It's good. There's some weird stuff right away. The animation style, like
it's the style they've been using through these like quote unquote new 52 animated films,
which works for some of the like weird genre-y stuff, but not as much for just like straight on Superman. Like I don't know if it is definitely like if it spoke to me enough.
Sure.
His voice is really weird.
It's Jerry O'Connell, isn't it?
Yeah, which doesn't really like invoke a thought of Superman to me.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have thought of Jerry O'Connell.
No, because I mean, for me, you always get that sort of like Boy Scout, like I'm Superman.
I like what's his name, George Newbern. Who voiced him in the.
That was great.
Series.
Yeah. I think that is sort of maybe that's tainted me a little bit, but I think that like it's this sort of like coy like personality to his voice that I just was like, that's not who Superman is. Superman's not like that could be the Flash. But I don't.
Are there other issues with the voice acting, or is it primarily the Superman one?
For this type of thing, it's pretty good. Like the Flash shows up and it's good. It makes sense. Like it doesn't bother me. I think that's the one that really like. It's always like how they treat Batman and Superman, because I think those voices are so strong that you like if you don't go that direction, it feels weird. Like it's the same thing if you had made Martian Manhunter. It's like, hey, I'm Martian Manhunter. It's like, whoa, no, you're not. That's weird.
I'm the last Manhunter from Mars, huh?
Who is the guy who did the parrot in Aladdin?
Oh, Gilbert Gottfried.
Imagine him voicing.
I'm Martian Manhunter.
Just anybody.
Yeah.
Do it. You know you want to.
Yes, Father, I shall become a bat.
I like that you need to do the hand over the eye to get into character.
Well, you know, everyone has their thing.
Hey, you're an actor. It's okay.
It's my craft.
It's true. I liked what they did with Superman's costume in this. I don't know if you've seen enough of it.
Is it still the new 52 one with the collar?
It's the collar and the hand. They have the little like.
Yeah, that's the new 52. Like it's almost like Kryptonian armor as opposed to just like a fabric costume. Yeah.
Which I like that. I think it's like more realistic and like feels.
A lot of people hated it, and in the comics they've sort of gone away from it again. Mm-hmm. But I liked it. It was a thing in the new 52 I kind of dug.
It felt more like armor. It feels more like he's like a soldier for the Earth rather than just like a guy in tights.
Which is maybe what people didn't like, you know, the idea of Superman as combatant as opposed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can see why people didn't like it, but I dug it.
One of the things that like I'm not used to seeing in these is an actual reference to like killing and actual showing death and like blood and like that sort of thing. Like
those movies do show it though. Like Justice League War, which is the origin of the Justice League, and they fight Darkseid. That has some deaths in it.
I don't think I've seen enough of it, but like
Throne of Atlantis definitely does.
Yeah, like where they're actually like there's like a gang at the beginning who's got like some powered armor, and they're like I can't remember, they're doing some sort of crime thing, and they're like, oh, make sure that those people are dead. And it's just like,
and you were like, oh, I thought I was watching a cartoon.
Oh yeah, this is not a cartoon. And there's like a scene where like this villain just like crushes the heads of these people, and I'm like, oh, like the blood, like it's underwater and blood like just clouds out.
Within this universe also is that new Suicide Squad animated movie Hell to Pay, and that is like a hard R.
Yeah, which
like that movie is all death and violence.
I'm totally into that. Wonder Woman shows up and she's got a completely different costume, which I thought was really interesting.
Again, it's the same costume she's had through those movies, like Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis, Teen Titans versus Justice League.
Very different to see her like that. I mean, it's somebody who's coming in cold a little bit for like I was very surprised to see that,
because it's not even what her new 52 costume was. It's unique to those movies,
and because I haven't been following fully through all the new 52 stuff, I don't know if this. I'm assuming this is part of the through line of their relationship, but he talks about them dating, which I didn't know.
In the new 52, Superman and Wonder Woman were together, and then they've used that in the animated film.
And so where they're at in this is basically that like they had broken up, and now he's starting to want to be with Lois Lane.
I was like, because you kind of need Lois for the death of Superman.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's basically they have a scene where
so off-screen relationships have flipped.
Yes. So it was really funny.
Off-screen before this movie.
So it was really funny. They like there was like a battle, and Lois Lane leaves and goes into the Daily Planet, and just as the battle's finishing, he flies over and like becomes Clark Kent.
Right.
And so she comes in and he's all Clark Kent, and she grabs him, and you think she's gonna like yell at him, and she pulls him into a closet and they start making out.
Ayo.
Which is nice to see. And it's really funny because one of the things they reference is she's like, oh, like we're gonna go to the Hamptons or something like that. Like,
sure.
And he's just like, oh, and he's like, she's like, no, like it's hard for me to get vacation time. Like we're doing this, and he's like, my parents are in town, and so that's where I left off.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you left off there.
Well, just slightly after that, which is I thought was really funny. Like I've only watched about maybe like a third through it.
Right.
Lex shows up.
Of course.
Because basically, Superman's just like these villains, these like crooks have like super high powered like alien technology.
They must be getting it from.
They must be getting it from Lex, who's got like a bracelet, like the what's it called when you're like home. You're
like a house arrest.
Yeah, house arrest. So he's got a bracelet around, so he can't leave.
Because in a previous one of these movies, he's in the cold open with a couple of other villains, and the Justice League dispatched them. So he's like a known villain in that world. Yeah.
So I actually like that voice actor. I think the look was a little like too sexy for
Lex.
Yeah.
I think I like Lex when he's a little sexy.
Yeah.
Like, in the comics, there's a
sexy
thing
Lexi.
Well, that's a Robot Chicken sketch, which is hilarious.
Oh, okay.
Where he was in like a hair metal band in high school called Sex Luthor. But in the comics, there's a thing where like he like works out a lot. He takes good care of himself. He's the peak of human. You know, or he sees himself as the peak of like what a human can be. And he hates Superman because it doesn't matter how much work he puts in, he'll never be Superman.
You know, like there's a small part of me that really would love to see like an animated TV show like a Muppet Babies, but with like DC. like Teen Titans is not there enough, but like I really want like or like them and all in high school or like younger.
I mean, that's kind of what that DC Superhero Girls is.
Really,
I think that's them like in a high school. I think is the idea,
because I want to see like little Lex and little like Clark Kent like hating each other. Like
you're also describing Smallville.
It is Smallville, but Smallville they're all still a little too grown up and they're about to graduate college and stuff. So it's great, and I love Smallville, but at least the first 4 seasons.
First 3, yeah,
3, but 4 was on the edge. But anyways, so I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, we should do this segment again when you've actually watched the movie.
Yeah, well, I've seen a third of it, and so I just wanted to talk about it because I have been watching it, and I'm excited to watch more, which I wasn't the last time we watched the trailer.
That's true. That is worthy of the update. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're not going to ask me what I've been?
I just figured.
We just assumed you haven't.
Well, I finally got around to watching
Ninja Batman?
It's called Batman Ninja.
Yeah, I know. I just like calling it Ninja Batman.
Actually.
So, after you've heard each of us talk about it and things like that, what did you think?
Yeah. Hey, let me see what's behind them bushes.
Your impression of yourself is really good.
I know.
I had a lot of fun watching it.
Good. Thank you, plebeian.
Tell me about it. What did you think about it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Why don't you voice activate? Tell me what I thought of it.
This is what you thought about it. No.
You liked it?
I really thought that it was super cool. And again, I think it kind of attests to how I feel about superhero development and stuff like that. So watching Batman realize that he can't rely on the internet, technology and all this stuff in feudal Japan.
Yeah, they didn't have the cloud.
And the cool thing about that was
sure they had a character named Cloud, but yeah.
Final Fantasy.
By the very end of it, when he's like, "Okay, I'm the Bat.
Yeah.
I'm a part of this group. It's something more than me. It's bigger than I am." I was like, "Man, yeah, you finally fucking got it."
Yeah.
I'm like, someone should tell Superman about this shit.
You're always a fan of the art in comic books. What did you feel about like the animation style of the film?
I really enjoyed just like so much about it. The Japanese animation style of it is really, really, really cool. I enjoyed the mechanics behind how everything kind of became these like big,
the mechs.
Yeah.
So cool.
What did you think about that weird animation switch like halfway through when the Joker shows up and they're like, "Oh, he's normal." How did you both feel about that?
I like it.
Yeah,
Because it
wasn't-
puts you like off a step.
Yeah, it wasn't seamless,
no,
which was nice.
Yeah, I feel like that was intentional.
Yeah, to me, I think it's meant to do like to an audience what in real life, when you come up against the Joker, it's supposed to like put you off
A
your
jar, a
rhythm.
twist,
Yeah.
It was super cool though. I really enjoyed that.
Were you just like, was there a little bit of WTF at the end when things started turning into machines that are like?
No,
I mean, I knew you knew it was coming,
no,
but
because the Joker had already done something like that.
Yeah,
Closer to the beginning.
Yeah.
a third of the way through the
arm down.
movie, that pagoda turns into like a arm swinging thing.
And Harley Quinn is like, it's not ready yet. And Joker's like, come on, let's do it. Let's get crazy.
Yeah,
that's when the big explosion happens,
Yeah.
right? Like, but then when the like monkeys turned,
I really enjoyed how it was like he used up all of the like bat equipment that he had in that
Mhm.
first go, and then
the car,
the
car,
Batmobile
the
does
plane,
not come out of that well.
the
No.
motorbike, the suit, all of it kind of goes to shit, and he's just like, holy crap, how do I Batman right now?
yeah, because I mean, he's really realized.
It's back to basics.
He doesn't realize
Back to basics.
Back to basics.
he doesn't realize one that like people think of him as this hero and he doesn't see himself that way.
Yeah.
And then he relies so much on the technology, not realizing that it's like, hey, you're a detective, you've got all these fighting abilities, and you're just a master tactician. Like, it doesn't matter if you have these technologies, just are the plus.
But he's been using them as crutches.
Yes.
Yeah.
That fight scene at the end with the Joker, oh, so cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So cool.
I love that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm
Me
glad that
too.
there's finally something that we've given you that like.
What do you mean finally? There's,
Ragman.
there's been lots.
No, but what I mean is,
Don't get so down on yourself.
I just feel like I'm failing you.
There's a lot of good prescriptions.
You're failing. It has nothing to do with Colin. It's just this podcast in general.
Yeah, don't put your shit on me. You're a father now. Man up.
Jesus.
Walk it
Yikes.
off. There's no crying in
I'm
baseball.
a father.
Yeah, you
I
are.
just said that
Yeah.
with my own voice.
That's right. I'm very, very glad you liked it.
Nice.
I'm excited about more of that stuff coming up. I don't know what the next one is that I'm really stoked for, but there's so much like animated shows that are coming out. Or animated movies.
Well,
They're always doing those.
Mhm.
I watch most of them.
I really like the like throwbacky ones, the ones that are like in different periods. I really hope they keep doing that.
Well, I think I pitched the one I want, which is Pirates Aquaman.
Yeah, that makes so much fucking sense. Why isn't that not a thing
I want,
already?
like 18th century Caribbean Aquaman.
we're talking Pirates of the Aquaman?
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you said that the last time I brought it up. Yeah.
That's very likely.
And then I said Aquaman of the Caribbean, and then we all moved on.
Yeah, it's because it was a terrible idea.
So, what's this week's theme?
This week's theme is Fanstravaganza II.
The Fanstravagang.
Huh? Fanstravagan.
I was just
Oh, end podcast.
That was it. No
Yeah.
questions.
You don't need to.
We're going over to Facebook for some questions.
To the face, said the book, go to the Facebook.
Just for clarification, for those who maybe didn't listen to the first one, a Fanstravaganza is when we go back through our back catalog of questions we haven't gotten to yet. Because we do get lots of questions. Sometimes they don't fit a theme, or sometimes we just have too many.
Yeah.
So this is us trying to play catch up a little bit. So if you've been like a long time listener and you're like, those assholes never answer my question, this might be the day where it happens.
Or it sucked and fuck you. I don't know.
Hey, how about this? Stop being such a must-turd and understand that our fans listen to every episode and they know what this is.
You're really like you.
I didn't. This is weird.
It's funny because
I just made a great mustard pun and nobody's excited.
Richard, you and I have been watching Queer Eye, but I feel like Colin is the one who's embodying the spirit of it. He's trying to lift me up. He's trying to give me confidence.
Do you know what my wife and I call Jonathan on the show?
Gay Jesus?
Gay Colin.
That's fair.
Right?
Yes.
It's pretty accurate.
That's
right.
That's fair.
I feel like if he and I met in real life,
You'd be like, honey, you're so beautiful.
I don't know what Jonathan would do
Yes.
with Colin.
well, no, because when I opened the door,
It'd be like looking into a straight mirror.
I see what you did there.
Anyways, moving along. Matt Poulter has a question.
All right.
Deathstroke is infamously the inspiration for the parody Deadpool. Does this inherently make Deathstroke lame?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, we've talked about him on the show before. He's He's a mercenary. He's one of the world's like deadliest assassins, master tactician, great swordsman, great hand-to-hand fighter, expert with like marksman and all that kind of stuff. He also has some like a bit of a healing factor, and he has like increased use of his like mental capacity because of like a government experiment kind of thing.
Yeah.
He wears that. He's missing an eye. He wears that half mask. Deadpool.
Is that a parody though? Isn't it just like ripped off? Like,
well, here's the thing. When you look at the character of Deadpool and the character of Deathstroke and where they've gone in their trajectories, they don't look like they're related at all.
no, it's just like.
But here's where they are. I think.
Well, we will do a big episode about the
Yes,
similarities,
yeah.
but
Now, I'm not a Marvel guy, so I might be getting this wrong, but I believe Deadpool wasn't always tied to mutants.
who?
Mutants, like the X-Men. But he, I think got his abilities, his healing factor, which Deathstroke also has, from a government experiment. They're both expert mercenaries. They're both great swordsmen. They're both
Colin, have you seen
marksmen.
Colin, have you seen Deadpool the movies at all?
I saw the first one.
What'd you think of it?
I enjoyed the amount of fourth wall that was broken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cheeky. I enjoyed it. It was fun.
That's a thing that's totally different. That's a Deadpool only thing. Deathstroke does not have that. Deathstroke isn't funny.
Well, I only say that because I think that where they both started and where they are now are so far apart. I think in the beginning, in the origins of both of them, you could definitely see that. I mean, you could even see that
again,
from...
Deadpool was parody. He was always going to be different because he's mocking a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's very weird that Ryan Reynolds has played both, but...
Yeah. But here's the big one. I haven't said it. Deathstroke is Slade Wilson. Deadpool is Wade Wilson.
Like, clearly...
Like, obviously twin brothers.
Jack Hughes.
No, Jack Hughes is still the hockey player.
Still a great joke.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, other than the fact that there was clearly some like inspiration for Deadpool, this parody character, they basically have nothing to do with each other. Deathstroke is, I think, an absolute fan favorite DC character. He's not lame at all. He's one of the most interesting, most layered, three-dimensional characters that they have in their canon. He's not necessarily evil. He's also not necessarily good. He's he's strictly mercenary. It's who's paying him. His only code is to honor his contracts. He's very amoral. Sometimes he fights with the heroes. He helped save the day in Forever Evil. He helped the Justice League in Christopher Priest's most recent arc, but it's because they paid him. You know what I mean? He's interesting that way. I think there's a certain similarity to Deadpool there, where he's a sometimes bad guy, sometimes good guy, depending on how it suits. But no, I mean, I know this question is a little bit silly anyway, but no, it does not make Deathstroke lame at all. If anything, I think it's a testament to how powerful that character is, that you can make another popular, lasting character basically off of him, right? Like Deadpool stands on his own. No one looks at Deadpool and goes like, "Oh, Deathstroke ripoff." Like that's a character inspired by Deathstroke, who completely is legitimate in his own right now. So
now, what do you think about the portrayal of him so far in the DCU, and where do you think it should go?
In the comics?
No, I mean the movies.
Well, it was a 2-minute scene on a boat at the end of Justice League. So
not much, but
I mean, I would love to see him pop that armor off in Sexy Dance, because Magic Mike 3 needs to happen.
Girl?
Joe Manganiello.
I think you've been watching too much Queer Eye.
Give him a Deathstroke.
You're going to kill him from jerking him off?
Cause of death, dehydration. No,
Cause of dress. Oh yeah.
What I liked I liked the look. I like that they emphasize that he is meant to be older.
Yeah.
And things like that. What I would love to see is what sort of was starting to happen, but I think the recent news is maybe it's being shelved for the time being. But
the movie?
It was supposed to be Gareth Edwards, isn't that the guy that did The Raid? That he was supposed to do a Deathstroke movie.
God, if they would do
but something like that, just where he doesn't have to be the hero, but he's maybe on the side of good, that there are people worse than him, but just give him the opportunity to just tear through goons, right? Show off his skills, be brutal, be bloody, and be calculating and just watch that happen. I don't need to see him fight a superhero. I would rather see him like toppling a government and like, you know, like elsewhere or something like that, like the Black Ops kind of thing. I'd want to see that.
Though I would say if they were going to have the Raid's director, I would rather it not be that actor playing Deathstroke.
Joe Manganiello?
Yeah, I love Joe Manganiello. He's awesome. He's sexy. He's great. But I think that I would love to see more of like an actual, like, I would rather like it actually be maybe somebody like who's like a kung fu, like I would love to see the Raid version.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to go the way that you didn't think he had the acting chops, but you don't think he's got like the physical chops.
No.
Oh, see, that's 100% not where I thought you were going with that.
No. I would love to see like what that guy does with the Raid, do that with Deathstroke, and have him just fucking like.
But here's the thing with Deathstroke, he wears a mask. If you need that for the action scenes, put someone else in there.
I know, but Joe Manganiello is a monster of a man. Like to see him like slide over some like a table and like fly through 3 floors of an apartment building, it's not going to happen.
I don't know. I think I'd be
Joe.
Yeah, Big Dick Richie. I love Magic Mike.
I'm sorry. What?
His character's name in Magic Mike is Big Dick Richie.
Papa Big D Vanier.
Jesus, no.
Whoop, there it is.
Why is that on the soundboard? Let's move on.
Why wouldn't that be on the soundboard?
I'm a father. That's the right level of indignant.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
So Josh Gill has a question.
Gill.
Yeah. Bow.
Talking about Josh Gill.
Oh, whoa. Josh Gill.
It started sexy, and then you went to like Old Man River territory.
Down by the river. No, moving on.
Sexy Josh Gill. It's sexy Josh Gill. I hope he lets me see his dick.
Jesus Christ. We're definitely in sexual harassment territory.
That guy works for us, sort of, as a volunteer.
The way we do.
Yes.
All right, what's Josh's question?
We've got money in the bank.
Shouty, what's drink?
Curious what y'all's thoughts are on Mr. Miracle
he's so folksy.
And Big Barda's baby. Most powerful / dangerous baby ever?
I'm sorry, what? Mr. Miracle and Big Barda got together?
I thought you were reading Mr. Miracle.
I have only read like the first issue.
Dude. So by the end of the first half, by the end of issue 6, Big Barda gives birth to their baby.
What?
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Now there's an offhand in a couple of little panels reference where they call the baby the lump. And that's it. If you don't know like the New Gods mythology, that feels like nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's like a cute term for a little human. It's like, oh, look at you, little lump. But the lump was a character in continuity before like Flashpoint and that was like created by Granny Goodness. It was this big, like kind of made of rock. It was like 7 feet tall. It had crazy like psychic abilities. And it trapped Mr. Miracle in like a psychic version of what he like wanted his life to be or something like that. So if you're reading this Tom King Mr. Miracle series, you'll notice that every once in a while in the art, it looks like, like when a TV, like when the signal gets jammed and like everything sort of like shifts or is distorted.
Yeah.
So this baby and calling it the lump, I wonder if this whole series is like Mr. Miracle trapped in his own mind, because some crazy things have happened and Tom King insists that it's in continuity, but like Orion has been killed, Highfather's been killed, Granny Goodness has been killed, like major characters have been offed in this mythology. So I wonder if the thing with the lump is that none of this is real, that it's Mr. Miracle trying to escape from this particular nightmare, this like psychic sort of version of his life. So I actually don't think that their baby specifically is the most powerful being ever, because I actually don't think their baby exists, because I think this is all a projection.
Really?
That's my take on that one. Yeah, sorry. I thought you had been reading that. I thought you'd have a hot take on this too.
No, now I'm like, fuck, I didn't know that. Now I'm just like, what the shit? No, I think I've only read up to like 4.
Right.
So I really haven't.
Keep reading. Like it's such a good series, and it's it's been crazy. And even if it wasn't like a projection,
Yeah.
it totally holds up. But I wonder, because that's a weird specific reference to throw in there for nothing. I feel like it must mean something.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Next question on Facebook is from Richard's brother.
Oh, Dr. Dick himself
Ah, that he was Dr. Dick?
the whole time.
You're a turlet.
You can't use those. Tell him those are my quotes.
I own your voice.
That's right.
Okay, Ursula. What did Dr. Dick say?
Good Disney reference. Which heroes do you think would or would not do brunch?
I talk too much on this anyway. Why don't you guys take this first? Colin.
Would Batman do brunch?
Let's do the who would do brunch. Let's do that first. Who do you think would get along?
Are we talking just heroes?
Sure.
And are they doing brunch together?
They
Or
could.
are they doing just brunch?
Would they do brunch
Sorry, you
in
mean
general?
they're each going to brunch in separate places? No, that's not what we're talking.
Well, no, but like that, the question doesn't
Say,
ask,
Colin,
yeah.
if they would
Colin,
do brunch together.
how about this? Colin,
Yes, doing brunch together.
here's a great example. You like throw a good brunch party.
I throw the best brunch
You do,
parties.
but they're amazing.
Which of these heroes do you
There
think
ain't
would
no
actually
party
show
like a
up?
Colin Close brunch party.
So we're going to a Colin Close brunch party. Which heroes would you
Colin Close
be
brunch party doesn't
comfortable inviting? Because you know they'd
.com.
they'd get along with each other. They wouldn't cause a ruckus in your house.
Okay, so I could see Batman would show up late and complain.
You think he would do brunch though?
Oh, he would do brunch?
He would have been there the whole time. He's just hiding in the rafters.
No, he
He'd
would
be like, of course Batman didn't show up. I am Batman. Oh my god.
oh no,
Every fucking time. Swear to God, Bruce.
no, he shows up late and then complains about there being only so many things left.
Oh, because he's like pampered and rich.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got one.
Fair, yeah,
one-
of course. Bruce Wayne would do brunch.
Alfred has to go into the car and get the brunch that he made for himself and brought to your house. But who would he get along with? You've already invited Bruce. Who else have you invited from the hero
set
community?
the scene for who's gonna be there.
Well, that's
Okay,
what I'm
okay,
trying to get
okay,
you to say. Yeah.
So, obviously, Wonder Woman shows up 13 minutes early.
Okay.
She brings orange juice,
Right.
thinking that somebody else will bring champagne if not there already.
This feels like a time that I went.
Yeah, exactly.
Way too much of one ingredient.
Yeah. Yeah, you only need like a liter of orange juice for like 12 liters of... Anyways, it doesn't matter. So she shows up early. Aquaman shows up like literally on... If you say 12 o'clock, he's there at 12 o'clock.
Right.
But he brings ice.
No, he brings a bottle of champagne. It's not crazy expensive stuff. It's nice, but it's not like, oh wow, look at this.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
Yeah, he's only king of Atlantis.
Yeah, he's subtle though. He's frugal. He's frugal.
Fair enough.
The
Yeah.
frugal king.
Yeah.
Okay.
Superman, he's there 6 minutes late.
Superman's late?
Yeah, he's late, but
Really? The
Is it
Boy
because-
Scout?
Is it because you gave him the wrong directions and he had to use super hearing to find out where your place was?
No, well, yes and no. But then immediately wants to take over helping in the kitchen,
Sure.
which is
Little too handsy.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's the guy who like touches you on the lower back to move you in the
Be like,
kitchen, and you're
no,
like,
I know a trick to keep the pancakes fluffy.
and you're
Yeah,
like,
that
just
guy.
go
Yeah.
sit down, man. Like,
Sure.
we're good. The Joker goes around unplugging
Sorry.
appliances.
I'm just assuming that everyone that is showing up has been invited.
Oh, he wasn't though.
Okay, but this is the whole point of the question.
He comes
Who
in.
would you invite?
He
And
comes-
you have
Well, I think the
Batman
point
and
is,
the Joker in
I think the
same
point is like who are which ones would be the type to do brunch?
He comes in dressed up
Oh, I
as
see. Not to do brunch together, but just who would be interested in brunch.
Yeah.
I see.
He shows up dressed up as Catwoman though.
Like in the cat suit?
Yeah,
Oh.
the whole thing.
Okay.
And he's walking around unplugging things. But everyone's keeping it kind of a side eye on air quotes Catwoman
Right.
for what she might steal.
Sure.
Two-Face shows up, of course.
Wow.
Pancakes or waffles?
Both.
and I'm like,
We can't decide.
I'm like, Harvey, there's only waffles. This is brunch. This isn't Breakfast of America.
right.
This isn't IHOP.
The mimosa is the perfect drink if you can't decide between the orange juice and the champagne.
And boy does he indulge.
Yeah.
Who else would be there? Oh, the Flash goes zipping around stealing people's strawberries off their plates.
Okay.
And they're like, I thought I grabbed strawberries.
But basically, essentially, with the exception of those two villains you threw in there, you're saying everyone in the Justice League would be interested in brunch.
Lex Luthor shows up at the end offering to pay for everyone's brunch, but it's been a home brunch the whole time.
Right, which is a weird... Yeah, right, okay. Interesting. Richard, let's flip the question. Who do you think would do brunch together?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, obviously, Batman and Superman can't be in the same room.
I mean, they're best buds.
They're not, though.
They are. Read a comic.
That relationship is so contentious, though.
It's not. They're fine.
I don't believe
they're
it.
like brothers.
There's been so much of it where they just like are fighting all the time and they can't see eye to eye.
That's so specific.
You've played the game. You know their relationship is torn.
So is your brunch in the Injustice universe?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I think that Wonder Woman she doesn't want to be seen at brunch. I think she's got too much going on. She's not going to show up. The Flash is definitely going to be there. Flash has got no friends. He's got nothing else going on. He wants to be there.
Justice League Flash.
Yeah,
what you're thinking of.
He's annoying, but yeah.
Although he specifically in that movie says that he doesn't get brunch.
Yeah, but he's still going to show up to try to figure it out. He's a smart guy. He's intellectual. He wants to.
Sure, he's broad,
and he's on the spectrum, so he's trying to like be like normal people.
And he maybe because he's a young Flash, he lost that race with Superman, so he has to take them to brunch.
Exactly. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Aquaman's definitely there.
Okay.
Again, he brings the ice. Come on now. And I think that he and the Flash are trying to figure each other out. They're very different people, and it works well together.
Okay.
I think Swamp Thing doesn't have enough courage to come inside, so he's just kind of like lingering around the outskirts the whole time.
Right. Does he get offended if anyone has like a salad?
Oh yeah. He's not into it. Yeah. Okay.
He's only okay if people are just eating meat.
Yeah. And I think the last person that's going to show up is Ted Cord.
Oh.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Does Booster come too? Or is he there without his
Booster?
buddy?
Booster shows up, realizes that not enough important people are there, and then leaves.
Not people.
He looks in the window on the way to the door.
Booster would, but also I like the idea that he's looking in the window and he's seeing members of the Justice League, and he's like, "No, I could do better."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like where's Jay-Z? Yeah.
You know what I said? Did you see the thing online the other day of like who they thought would be well casted for Ted Cord?
No.
You remember the guy from Parks and Rec who ends up marrying the main character?
What? Ben?
Yeah.
What's his name? Adam.
Jason Schwartzman?
Adam Scott.
Adam Scott. Yes. Adam
Not
Scott.
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah. Wrong one. Adam Scott.
What do you mean wrong one? They're not even the same department.
That would be.
Don't worry about it.
That would be interesting.
Right? It was on Reddit the other day, and they
only
were like,
though if Alan Tudyk was his Booster Gold, I think. Then I'd be into that. Interesting. So I'm
not Rob Lowe.
Yeah. So I'm gonna answer like the third part of this, just from comic knowledge. I have a theory on some pairings of heroes that would never do brunch together, or if they did, it'd be awkward. You wouldn't want it. One I think is Superman and Green Arrow have a pretty rocky relationship. Maybe less so immediately in the comics, but they have a long history of like Green Arrow kind of has Colin's kind of contempt for Superman, that he's sort of like hovers above everyone. He's not really looking out for the little guy because he's busy like punching asteroids and shit like that. By contrast, Superman doesn't agree with Green Arrow's methods. Green Arrow can be violent and, has killed people, and he's a Lothario. He's, he is the playboy. Batman, like Bruce, pretends to be the playboy, but like all he is. So he's like a deadbeat sometimes, and he cheats on people. He's like lousy, and Superman doesn't like that. So I don't think they would work well together, at brunch. I wouldn't want the two of them there.
But who would you pick?
Well, no, I just you did who would be interested in brunch. Richard did who could do brunch together. I'm doing who couldn't do brunch, I think.
Oh, as like a twosome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would. Oh, it's actually kind of tough, some of these. I think I would maybe try to avoid having Batman and any Green Lantern, but specifically Guy Gardner. Their relationship is best summed up with the words "one punch," as in Batman one punched Guy Gardner and like never let him live it down.
Really?
Yeah. But also Batman has like a Rocky-ish relationship with Hal Jordan. Like he doesn't like that he's like a hotshot that doesn't think before he goes in, right? Like Batman is so calculating, and Green Lantern just barges in because he's wearing the most powerful weapon in the universe. Like he doesn't think. They're obviously friends. They're on the Justice League, but I do think that's more a matter of necessity and coincidence than them actually necessarily liking each other. There have been comics though that have explored them sort of building a mutual respect and things like that. I know that's in there before everyone like sends me a tweet saying that I'm wrong and posting the images. But for the sake of this fun question, Batman and Green Lantern, I don't think I'd pair up.
Probably not. No.
I'm trying to think of one more.
What about women?
Yeah, one more that wouldn't work.
Wonder Woman.
So Wonder Woman's one of them.
Who's
if we're taking the animated,
who's Aquaman's lady?
Mira?
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman and Mira? Well, I mean, in the Flashpoint universe, they really don't get along because Aquaman cheats on Mira with Wonder Woman.
And I would like to see that brunch go down.
And then Wonder Woman beheads Mira.
Whoa.
And that's what sets off the war between the Amazons and the Atlanteans that like basically ravages the world.
Jacques.
Yeah, so certainly in the Flashpoint universe, I would not have them out to brunch together. I would. Jesus.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, Colin raises his hand. Yeah. Maybe a character who just sort of like lacked empathy. You know, Wonder Woman is very compassionate, so yeah, just maybe a character that was like all business or something, like before he was full villain, like a Maxwell Lord, because he was just kind of like a slimy businessman or something like that. I mean, obviously he became a villain later, but if you take that like that Giffen era Maxwell Lord, I don't think he and Wonder Woman would go to brunch.
So great question.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun with that. Let's go to Twitter.
Well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, do the fucking thing.
No.
Go to Twitter.
Do you have it queued up, or is that what you're trying to do?
Go to Twitter.
To the Twitter.
Seamless.
In editing, it will be.
Dave Rossi asks, it seems fandom often boils down to, are you a Superman or a Batman fan?
Bam.
What is it about the characteristics of those specific characters that often define fans, and which DC characters fall into the Superman or Batman camps, and why?
Batman camp. Batman fan camp.
I don't want.
I'm going to Batman fan camp. There's going to be swimming. There's going to be nighttime stuff.
It sounds so much fun at the Batman fan camp.
And Batman's going to be there at Batman fan camp.
That's one time at Batman fan camp.
Say it like we said it.
Batman fan camp.
Thank you.
That also sounds like Batman fat camp.
Oh, hey, I went there.
See how well that worked.
I lost some weight, you guys.
No one cares.
Jesus. I don't want to do the thing where we ask the same question we've asked Colin a million times about why he doesn't like Superman. Yeah. But I think Dave's got a point. There are people that are kind of maybe more Batman fans, more Superman fans.
So let's break it down. They both lost their parents.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Superman lost his biological parents right away. His adoptive parents.
Is Alfred not Batman's adoptive father, though?
Okay,
realistically
no,
speaking,
fair point.
And Alfred did a great job as a single dad.
Well, yeah,
as a confirmed bachelor and a single dad.
I mean, yeah, his
wonder
quote
Batman.
unquote son did grow up to be a violent vigilante who routinely breaks the law, but yeah,
and was also a very confirmed bachelor.
You know what I mean?
Okay, I see the comparison you're making. So where else are they similar? Like where do they diverge to you? Why do you think people sort of pick a side of that instead of just being like, I like both?
Because I think Superman has that level of superpowers that doesn't come with that Richie Rich kind of like money and gadgets kind of thing. It's very wholesome and plain.
Do you think it comes down to the idea that it's literally the difference between like, Superman basically has all the powers, and then Batman
has to
is all the brains, right? Like,
powers.
Do you think it comes down to like brawn and brains, like that kind of thing, or
no? Because I think that
or
to
more
a
their
certain
personalities.
degree, Superman also is quite intelligent.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
But what I think it comes down to is the difference between, God, I hate saying this out loud, but natural gift versus purchased talent.
Yeah.
So Superman has inherently a natural gift, whereas Batman has to put together how to create those gifts. And luckily he has the
but some of that
financial stamina for that.
But like you just said, talking about Batman Ninja, he also has some things he's worked very hard at.
Oh, of course. Yeah. He's an incredible tactician.
Yeah.
He's
like in peak physical
skilled.
Yeah, so maybe people who like Batman see the hard work or
he's earned it.
That his effort pays off.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The people who like Superman, it's just that idea of like, it's like if you win the lottery, like what would you do if you went from 0 to 60? You just had those powers, like, yeah. Or the freedom of flying and things like that would be kind of nice. Yeah. Now to both of you guys, I don't want it to just be about the Injustice universe, but if you had to think of like other DC heroes and who maybe they just liked better or who they maybe agreed with more or whose sort of personality they meshed with more, or can you think of some characters that stand out that would, like, you're definitely like a Superman type or you're definitely a Batman type?
Like characters that would go in either direction?
Would go to the Batman fan camp?
Like, to me, the Flash makes sense with Superman. There are some great Flash and Batman team up comics because they're both like they're both like criminologists.
I see Aquaman with Batman.
I agree with you there,
and the movie really kind of pushed that too.
I agree with you there. There's an element like a seriousness,
and actually Cyborg as well.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there too. Yeah.
Whereas, holy shit. Okay, so that's what it is. It's people that are air quotes, superheroes that are from other planets that have inherent gifts,
right?
Typically end up with the Superman camp, whereas actual people who are science experimented on, who have their gifts by accident, or like Batman have the mental and financial capacity to create their talents,
right,
end up in a Batman camp.
So, I mean,
Aquaman doesn't really fit that because his powers are inborn.
He's half and half, though.
Okay. All right.
Because you start going down the list, and
he had to prove himself on land. Sorry to jump in on you, but like he had to prove himself on land.
Okay,
I'm gonna let you finish, but
but Aquaman went to Batman fan camp,
the greatest Batman fan camp,
the greatest of all time.
I mean, you start going down the list, and you instinctually just want to put dark characters with Batman and light characters with Superman. But then I got to Billy Batson, and I thought Shazam actually makes more sense. Like you think he would want to be like Superman, but I think he would think Batman was cool, and so he would want to go in that direction.
Yep.
Yeah, there have been Superman Shazam team ups before, and they definitely play off like the lighter side of those characters.
But I think that he would think that Batman was cool and would want to be in that camp.
There's a really interesting Batman and Shazam relationship in Young Justice. Batman is the only Justice League member that knows that he's really a child. And it's Batman's like sternness, but then there's this other adult hero who's basically a kid who's like, yay! Like watching them play off each other that way is really interesting.
Yeah.
There is something kind of neat there. And I do think he appreciates Batman's like leadership ability. I think that's something that Shazam can relate to, right?
Yeah.
That's in like the wisdom of Solomon, courage of Achilles categories of his powers. I think he could see those in Batman.
I agree. I think Green Lantern wouldn't go in either direction. I feel like there's a holier than thou sort of like personality trait that I find with Green Lantern that I feel like I don't think Hal is much. I know he's part of the Corps and I know he's part of the Justice League, but he's not really much of a joiner. No.
Yeah.
But I think like Martian Manhunter would go, even though he's definitely got like like holier than thou. Sometimes I feel like he's still more Superman than he is Batman.
See, I put him with Batman because they're both
Really?
they're both detectives at heart.
They are, but I feel like he has so much respect for Superman,
Right.
and that's constantly being shown. That
Interesting.
and like their power levels, are, like though Martian Man is technically more powerful, I feel like there's a lot of like mutual respect with that.
I would see the Hawks going with Batman more on like the tactical, like the combat side.
Yeah.
Like that's if you're like a warrior, if you love the thrill of battle, I think Batman's probably your guy over Superman.
I agree with
Superman's more diplomacy and that sort of thing. I mean, he can obviously like punch a planet, but he that's not his preferred method.
that. What do you think about Rorschach?
I mean, Rorschach's
Batman?
well, Rorschach is Batman because he's based on the question, who was himself based on Batman.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
right?
fair enough.
The question was like the Charlton Comics Batman. So
then who's the blue guy with the dick out all the time?
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, he for sure goes with Superman.
I think he goes neither direction. I feel like he thinks he's above them both.
Yeah, definitely.
He goes with Superman though.
If he had to, I guess he would. But
I think this Doomsday Clock book that I'm reading that I was talking about, I think it's leading up to some version of Superman and Dr. Manhattan facing each other. Not necessarily confrontation, but some sort of like trying to convince him of something. You know what I mean? Like that it's going to come down to those two, I think. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I like that one.
well, okay, what about you? Batman or Superman?
Like personally?
Yeah, because we know Colin, but what about you?
I am a Batman guy.
Are you?
I am. I don't hate Superman though. Like I love
No,
I
know.
love Superman and what he stands for and that sort of thing. But
Colin's looking like maniacal and like he wants to make you.
but I'm
I
a
hate Superman guy. But.
I'm a Batman guy because I admire his dedication. Like how motivated you would have to be as a person to get yourself to the like that sort of peak physicality and train yourself in all those disciplines. Like
As somebody who tried to literally be Batman,
but it's also like the scientific disciplines. It's not just the fighting or the detective stuff. It's like he's a scientist, he's an engineer, he's a chemist. It's
Colin,
really
do you have a question?
No, I have an answer to all of this. The difference between Batman and Superman is this specifically. What is on the crest of Superman?
like the S, the symbol of the House of L. It means hope.
Exactly. And that means that inherently he has to do this job. He has no choice. He has to do this. He has to be Superman.
Sure, it's his calling, right?
Batman chooses to be a superhero.
I like that. That is a remarkably good answer.
That's why I picked,
yeah,
that's
you're
why
right.
I picked Batman.
Batman makes a vow as a child, and then he chooses that.
So
life.
that's the one.
Superman inherits that. Like, oh, holy shit, Colin!
That's the one difference. You know what?
Did I just graduate?
Do we have
Dr. DC podcast?
do we have a surprised like congratulatory thing in the soundboard, or are they all sarcastic?
No, they're all sarcastic. But that's the thing that separates them. Do you know what brings them together?
That's a good button. Let's move on.
Absolutely.
We're gonna go to Instagram where KCross202
for life.
Obviously, always asks
KCross202 for life.
Who are the Longbow Hunters in DC Comics? Because they name drop them on Arrow.
So there was a series, like a 3-issue like prestige format series, quite some time ago, written by Mike Grell called Green Arrow: The Longbow Hunters. In that one, the Longbow Hunters wasn't like a group. It's kind of referring to both Green Arrow and this character Shadow, but basically she's on this murder spree. Green Arrow is trying to stop her, but then partway through, he rescues Black Canary, who has been kidnapped and tortured, and he kills a guy, like just straight up murders him to save Black Canary. And then it's basically him dealing with whether or not he should let Shadow keep killing some of these people. And it's like him sort of wrestling with the morality of that. But then in the New 52, the term Longbow Hunters became the name of this group of villains that included the New 52 Richard Dragon. It included Brick, Killer Moth, Red Dart, and Count Vertigo. So a bunch of mostly Green Arrow villains, although also Killer Moth, formerly a Batman villain. They were the Longbow Hunters, and they were after Green Arrow. I suspect in the context of the show of Arrow, that's what it is. because I think Richard Dragon was in this most recent season. We've seen Brick before. He was played by Vinnie Jones. There have been 2 counts Vertigo. I think both have been killed, but it's a TV show where people die and come back. I'm sure they could figure it out. We haven't seen Killer Moth, but we know that Gotham exists, and we know that they're introducing Batwoman in the crossover next year, so maybe Killer Moth comes on the show. And Red Dart, I'm actually not sure if Red Dart's been on Arrow or not. But I suspect in the context of the show, they're talking about that New 52 Longbow Hunters reference, which was a team of villains trying to get Green Arrow, basically.
Long story short, we're going to go to email, where Richard will now say the thing for email.
Chugga the email.
Yeah, that one. John asks, what is the microverse? Is it a paralleled world or just a pocket dimension? Where is it on the multiversity map of the multiverse?
That's it's
That's
not
a tongue twister.
Yeah, right. It's not on that map. Yeah, that's true. So the microverse basically is this realm that was discovered by Ray Palmer, aka Colin.
That guy at that one time at the thing.
Well, think about it. If it's a microverse, who's a character that can shrink? You know this. What's the smallest thing you can name?
Ant-Man.
No, smaller than an ant.
Atom Boy.
The Atom.
Yeah.
Ray Palmer. Yeah, discovered the microverse. I'll take it. That's close. Ray Palmer discovered the microverse when he kind of shrinks down to examine. He's like actually trying to examine the fabric of space-time. This is in current continuity, in current rebirth continuity. And basically, in the microverse is like another universe. It's a realm with planets and inhabitants, and there are people who just live there. It's basically like a different plane of existence. And it's microscopic, so it's beyond like the subatomic. I guess the Marvel equivalent would be like the quantum realm, and I think kind of DC stole it from Marvel. But basically, that's what the microverse is. Now, it's funny that you bring up the multiverse map, because the microverse is multiversal. There is only one microverse. And we know this because in the comics, Blue Jay from Earth 8 accesses Prime Earth from the microverse. So you can go from any of those parallel Earths into that one microverse, and then you can leave to any of those parallel Earths. So if you were to put it on the map somewhere, it would, I would imagine it would just be like just under the layer, right? You know, if the flip side of the map is the dark multiverse, it would be like just below the orrery of worlds, you would have the microverse. And so it's within that Speed Force wall, if you're looking at Morrison's multiverse map. But I think the way it exists now is a relatively new concept, because it's been mostly in Rebirth continuity and in the Justice League of America book, which had the Atom in there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's all there is to that question. But yeah, the microverse is like a place with planets and like it's a whole universe on a subatomic scale, but it connects the entire multiverse.
So the next question comes from Lauren Gimbel, who asks, in part, probably one of my favorite questions.
All right.
That we always get asked.
All right.
And it's always, what's the deal?
What's the deal?
She says, who is Dr. Impossible?
What's his deal?
I talked about a little bit about Mr. Miracle earlier. So just a refresher, Mr. Miracle is one of the new gods. He's the new god of freedom. So he is a master escape artist. He can escape from anything. And he has tech like a mother box and these arrow discs.
Yo, he's got tech like a mother box.
Mother box. Yeah, he's got that and these arrow discs that he can fly around in. Dr. Impossible was a character that was in the pre-Flashpoint continuity very briefly, and he was implied to maybe have been Mr. Miracle's brother. But he could have just been someone else that got access to what's called a father box, which basically does the same thing. It can open, instead of boom tubes that are very like loud teleportation devices.
Like a mother box.
Yeah. A mother box opens a boom tube. A father box opens a hush tube. So he's like kind of like, it's like
so when like a mother box and a father box get together, that's how babies are made.
They hush up a boom tube big time.
Oh, there's a boom tube, definitely. That tube goes boom.
Boom, boom. Shh. But yeah, Dr. Impossible was basically like a corrupted, evil version of Mr. Miracle. He isn't Mr. Miracle, but he was like a dark reflection, basically, of that character. He's very short-lived. He doesn't show up very often. He only made a few appearances in pre-Flashpoint continuity, and that was it. But yeah, essentially, if you're trying to figure out like what his abilities are, he was also a master escape artist. He could open those hush tubes and sort of teleport, and he had arrow discs just like Mr. Miracle, so he could fly around. But that's him basically.
Well, with that, the Dr. DC podcast will be back after this quick break. Hey, residents. It's producer Richard here. Just wanted to take a quick break in the middle of this podcast to talk about our amazing sponsors, Great Lakes Grooming Co. Just want to talk to you about a couple of different products that I actually use almost every day. I just used a peppermint lime lip balm. It's awesome for chapped dry lips. It smells really good. You don't get that weird sort of like thick goopiness that you get from some chapsticks. It's great. It's super affordable, and definitely something that I cannot sort of exist without. The air is very dry up here, and I definitely need a lip balm all the time. The other product is the Noble Selves hairstyling cream. I've got pretty thick hair, and I tend to have a hard time finding hair products that work really well. Either they're too thick and they get sort of like stiff in my hair and feel really hard, or whatever, or they don't hold strong enough, and then I have to put a ton of it into it, so it becomes expensive as well. This has like a medium to light hold, but honestly, it's got a super soft feel, and it actually does the job that it needs to do. It holds my hair in whatever position kind of I want to put it in. It's perfect for everyday use and casual styles. It is a water-based styler. You're not getting a ton of those terrible chemicals that you would with some of the off-the-shelf stuff. But because of that, it washes out super, super easy. Great Lakes Grooming is meant to be easy to use, ready, rain or shine. It's one of the only like sort of styling companies that I actually can continuously go back to, and it's something that I used before we even got a sponsorship. All their products are purposely designed and environmentally responsible in Canada. So if you're here, great, much less shipping. If not, it's totally worth the cost, and it's actually super affordable. If you're from America, you got that American dollar, so it'll even cheaper for you to buy. But they like to say it's ready for adventure wherever one may find themselves. So whether you're where we are, up in the Great Canadian North, or down in the American South, wherever it may be, you guys can definitely count on these products to be great, no matter how you need to use them. And for you lucky residents, we have a 10% off that Great Lakes Grooming is going to offer on any regular priced products. All you have to do is go to their website, www.greatlakesgrooming.com, and just use the promo code DRDCpodcast. So remember that website again, www.greatlakesgrooming.com, and just use the promo code DRDC and then just podcast. Now back to the show. And we're back.
Hey, we're back.
Boy, that was the right amount of time.
Sure was.
Well, we're going to Reddit, where nothing is awful and everyone is best friends.
You've
you're
come
back.
around on it again. Yeah,
They've got such a happy little avatar.
That's true.
I mean, you have to.
Yeah, you really need to. What's 4chan's? Just like butterflies?
It should be to make up for it.
Just bubbles and butterflies.
So
Rainbows.
Charles asks, I wonder if it's Charles.
Yo, my name is Charles.
Charles.
Or he's like proper as fuck, and he's like, I'm Charles.
Whatever. He's never listening to this.
Charles.
Hello, Charles. The question is, if the Dark Multiverse features evil versions of Batman and Earth 3 already features evil versions of the heroes, then what do we imagine Batman or Owlman to be like on Earth 3?
Well, that last one I think is Earth -3 because the Dark Multiverse.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Same phone. Who dis?
We had Colin's interest for a bit. Yeah, so the Dark Multiverse, they're all like minus Earths. And the idea is that the Dark Multiverse is much more vast than the regular multiverse. And it's made up of like, if we take Morrison's idea that like everything is story, then the Dark Multiverse are like broken stories. They're stories that went the way they weren't supposed to. Like the multiverse has evil Earths. That's a thing. Earth 40 is an evil Earth. Earth 3, like mentioned in this question, is an evil Earth. But in the Dark Multiverse, it's that the stories went wrong. Like the evil Batmen they still saw themselves as heroes. Like it's that things went terribly. And in some cases, the Earth designations kind of line up. So for example, Earth 11 in the multiverse is the gender swapped Earth, where Bryce Wayne is Batman. In Earth -11, this is an Earth where Sylvester Kyle, Catman, was killed.
It's really Sylvester?
Yeah. Instead of Selena. Yeah.
It's just
Yeah. Oh, Sylvester the Cat. Yeah.
Jesus.
Sylvester Kyle was killed, and then that Batwoman, Bryce Wayne, basically goes on like a murder spree, and then eventually has to go to war with Atlantis and like surgically turns themselves into like a part Atlantean. So that's Earth -11. So there's like a bit of a parallel there. Earth 32 in the regular multiverse has some like mashup superheroes like Bat Lantern or Super Martian. On Earth -32, that's an Earth where immediately after the Waynes are murdered, a Green Lantern ring finds Bruce Wayne and he basically like breaks it with his willpower to allow him to kill people. Like he pushes past its like built-in safeguards and he becomes the Dawnbreaker. Like that's the name of that Dark Multiverse Bat Lantern, basically.
It's also the name of a rad sword in Skyrim, but
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So by that logic, if the Earth numbers are meant to line up a little bit, the question is, if Earth 3 is already the evil Earth in our multiverse, then is the broken story of Earth -3 that they're heroes again? You know, instead of like Owlman, is Owlman a good guy? Does he become a good guy on that Earth? Like he was evil and then the broken story is that he goes good? This is strictly theoretical, but I think that would be an interesting story. If you had like a version of the Crime Syndicate, this like evil Justice League, and then the reason that story is broken is because that morality gets flipped in him, that he turns against the Crime Syndicate for the sake of good. I think that's a really interesting take on the Dark Multiverse. I don't think we've seen the end of the Dark Multiverse because it's a really big concept to introduce. But that makes sense to me. I like that idea. That because again, it's not about one is evil and one is good. It's about the stories being broken. So if the story in the main multiverse is that world is evil, then the broken story should be a story of good.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
6 Metal 8361-838 asks,
that really rolls off the tongue.
Oh, yeah, that's my favorite. What are some good books for learning about DC continuity and various DC lore? Can we just... I don't like this.
It's called just listen to the Dr. DC podcast.
Well, yes. Let's quick plug.
Have a shorter Reddit name.
Quick plug. Listen to the Dr. DC podcast. That's what we're here for. But
were there that many 6 medals before this guy? Like, what the shit?
Probably not. I'm hoping it means something. But.
Yeah, maybe it's like his social insurance number. Now, like Richard,
Doctor,
as you know, like the producer of this podcast, I know you often go and do some like research on things to try and prep for episodes and that. Like, you do read comics, but you don't necessarily read all the ones I do or have read all the ones I do. Where do you go for information? Do you have like references that you find helpful that are like easy to get you into a story or things like that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that there's a vast amount of DC Wikipedias that are available. Yes. And so that's really, I think, the first thing that I usually point to. DCWikia.com is the best, I think, for sure. I have a hard time finding anything that tends to be better than that. I think if you're looking for like a deep dive into like what characters are attached to other characters, what books make sense for those characters, and times they've been referenced, I think that like a wiki is definitely going to be the thing that's going to give you the most information. I don't know if it's necessarily going to get you interested in the characters.
Sure, yeah.
But I think it'll do what like, if you want to know, if the question is how can I learn more about characters, then yeah, I mean,
now I have no shame in admitting this, but when I was getting back into comic books again, when I hadn't been into them for a while and I started buying them again, it's hard to jump into such a dense continuity, something that's been around for so long. I was reading like the Spectre Volume 4. I had the first 10 issues. So it's Hal Jordan as the Spectre. So as you know, I've already skipped a bunch of shit if I'm there. So what I found helpful about those wikis is I could go like look up the Spectre. I could find like maybe an issue that I read, and then as I'm reading it says Hal Jordan, I can click on Hal Jordan. Then I read about Hal Jordan and be like, oh, that's how he became the Spectre. But then when you go back through, if they're written properly, there should be citations, and if you hover over the citation, it'll give you like a specific issue. So I went back and I was like, oh, Hal Jordan went crazy, hovered over the thing, and it gave me Emerald Twilight, or the end of it, Green Lantern 50. So then I found Green Lantern like Volume 3, I think, issues 48 to 50, and I read those digitally, and I was like, holy shit, that's how he like turns to Parallax. And so I think you can pair things together. If you just see a cover that interests you, or people have talked about a character that interests you, or you watched a movie and you're like, I want to know more about Wonder Woman, just pick up a Wonder Woman comic and read it, and you'll be so lost you won't know what's happening. But then go to the wiki, see if there's a synopsis of that thing, see if there's like reference to a character that's in there, read about that character. Maybe that'll point you to a different story that can fill in some gaps. And there's a ton of stuff digitally, so you don't have to like, if you don't like the physical media or you don't want to spend as much money, that's a great way to like catch up on things. But I think I've said this before, but sort of weird logic is I would also recommend, I would recommend like reading an event instead of just picking up like a random issue. Like get all 7 issues of say like Infinite Crisis and just read that. It features almost all of the characters in the world. They're in this crazy cosmic thing where everything's at stake. And again, it'll be like weird and confusing, but you're going to see so many characters and so many characters interact with each other that I think it'll give you an idea of what you might be into. And then you can at least hone in. You can focus and then do some research, do some deep dives, get specific books. If you want to learn more about the Superboy that dies in Infinite Crisis, then you'll go back and read, Teen Titans and things like that. Like, I think that's, to me, events are a good place to start. You'll be super lost as you're reading them, but it'll give you a better idea of who you might be interested in, I think.
I mean, at the end of the day, all you need to do is take a look in a book, reading rainbow, reading rainbow.
I can be anything. With Geordie LaForge.
Just take a look. It's in a book.
Reading rainbow.
That's a really like lovely, inspiring thing. But as Colin was about to sing it, I thought he was going to say it like Colin does. Like, just take a look. It's in a book.
Reading rainbow.
Really like aggressive, dismissive.
As you were saying all of this, I looked over at Richard and I mouthed the words "reading rainbow."
I know. I saw that.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe.
Oh my god! You're peeling back the curtain.
I'm also in the room with you.
What?
He just ignores you most of the time.
What room?
The room.
The doctor's office.
What a story, Richard.
Oh, hi, Mark. So, last question.
Anything for my princess?
That's so fucking creepy.
Please soundboard that one.
You know I'm going to.
If any one of them.
I'm a father. Anything for my princess.
Got Maps asks, after Crisis on Infinite Earths, should DC have started over fresh? Almost like New 52. Oh, sorry, almost New 52 like. started the continuity over completely.
Right. So after Crisis on Infinite Earths, instead of there being a multiverse, they made it one timeline. So the Earth 2, that golden age with Jake Garrick and that, they just made them like the older generation. So what happened is they would basically like fold the timeline together. So all of the stories still existed, but now they like existed in like a chronological order instead of being on parallel Earths. And so the question is, should they have just, instead of trying to make all those old stories fit, should they just start over, brand new, blah, blah, blah? My short answer is no. I mean, of course it causes problems, you know, because there are characters that are supposed to be around before other characters, but then when you read their original stories, it doesn't line up with the new timeline. There's always going to be those continuity issues, but I think you kind of have to just read things with a grain of salt and just, you know, just accept the things that make sense. And some of the things that are like maybe not huge errors, you can kind of gloss over. Because I think a big problem with the New 52 was that some of the stories did just continue. They didn't completely reboot everything. Batman and, Green Lantern both basically just picked up where they left off, essentially, with minor changes. And that was a problem because other things weren't doing that. But also think of what the number one complaint about the New 52 was that for characters like Wally West or like Bart Allen or Connor Kent, or I mean most of the Teen Titans, frankly, they were basically erased. Like their importance was gone. Characters that people had like been reading for 20, 30, 40 years were just like wiped out of existence as if they were never meaningful. The whole thing with DC Rebirth is folding those things back in. So I can't imagine that if after Crisis on Infinite Earths, they just started over, I can't imagine that people would have been more receptive to that then either.
Yeah.
I think the idea was just to try and take the things that existed and just organize them in a new way. I don't think these big continuity things work when you're erasing, like completely erasing. Obviously, when there's changes, some things go by the wayside and other things come in. But like, just like to wipe the slate clean, I think is a really bad approach to that. I don't think that would have made sense or worked. Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are some great questions.
Yeah, it's nice to catch up on things.
I'm glad that we even have enough questions day to day that we can have extra questions, let alone to be able to actually do whole episodes of just the spare ones.
And there's still like more questions that we still didn't get to on.
But that's true. I mean, we're going to be able to do a whole another episode.
It's like the Dr. DC B-Sides podcast.
The Dr. B-Sides podcast.
You tried to do something with the DC and B-Sides and it just did not.
I'll show myself out.
Yeah, please. I appreciate that. No. That was really good. That was actually a lot of fun. I like getting the
D-side on the B-side.
I like getting
I'm fed up with this world.
I like getting the questions that aren't that aren't always super specific towards like one theme, but like are just more like sort of broad.
I like the ones about brunch.
Well, that's what you get.
You had some opinions.
That's what you get.
It also really makes me want brunch.
But that's what you get when you get Dr. Dick.
That's right.
You got Dr. Dicked.
Now, this episode is coming out. We have a winner in our...
Oh, that's right.
We have a winner in our vote for what the final episode's theme...
I do a drum roll, but we kind of...
Not the final episode of the podcast. The final episode of Fanstravaganza.
I mean, it could be both. Who knows?
Well, we're always teetering on the edge. So, but it was a very, very close vote. But
did it happen on Twitter?
Yeah.
What happened?
We brought a dark horse in and everything.
But fittingly, for the end of Pride Month, we'll be doing an episode about like LGBT plus characters. We got a last minute recommendation to do an episode like that. We were like, hell yeah. So we put it as a dark horse and it ended up winning. Yeah. Now, for people that voted for other things, those other...
It's not like we're never doing those. Yeah. Now they're going in the trash.
We'll get to Westerns at some point.
We're going to go to Jonah Hex. Yeah.
We'll get to sidekicks and crossovers and all those things eventually. But our final episode of Fanagar will be about like Pride, basically. So send your questions about like gay, lesbian, trans transgender characters, stories, like arcs,
Non-binary
whatever.
characters. Yeah.
Precisely. Send all those in, and we're going to be tackling that next week, and it'll be the final episode of our fan month.
Because who's more knowledgeable than 3 white guys?
3 cis.
Straight white, cis straight white guys.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder about you two.
You know what?
I'm.
You know what? Queer Eye's been opening up the inner me, and I am ready to let it shine.
I mean, I'm still straight, but I'm maybe more like emotionally available after watching that show.
You know what? I may still be straight, but after seeing Karamo, I mean, it could really go either way.
For me, it's Tan, man.
Really?
Oh,
really?
He's not my usual type because he's kind of small, but he's like he's fit.
Okay, here's a question that my wife and I played the other day. Hold on.
The one with the fireman where he's got the shirt like open way down. I was like, yeah,
really?
Yeah. I would.
Marry, fuck, kill 2 best friends. The Fab Five.
Sorry. Wait, it's marry, fuck, kill, and then the other 2 are best friends.
They're your best friends. Yeah,
right. I think I'm gonna get fired for this, but I kill Jonathan because I think he's just he annoys me too much.
What?
I can't. I'm not that high energy. I couldn't.
You've
keep up
gone
with
through
him.
2 seasons and still don't have the strong love for Jonathan.
I like him, but like I couldn't live with him.
Yeah, but gay best friend.
So you would kill him.
Oh shit! Because
Yeah.
I keep forgetting about this other option thrown in there. Sorry. Okay, but I still have to kill someone.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Wait. Hang on. No, I think I still kill him.
Well, okay. All right. Okay. I'm reconciling this in my brain. Okay, keep going.
I kill Jonathan. I marry Karamo.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You fuck Tan, obviously.
I fuck Tan.
Yeah.
And then Bobby and Anthony are my friends.
Really? So my answer was
I love this.
marry Anthony. He's a chef.
Sure.
He seems very open. He seems very like.
Doesn't he kind of make you think of Christian Bale when he does an American accent?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. But I feel like he could really take care of me.
Sure.
Yeah, and I want to fuck Karamo because man, like the man is sexy as shit. All right.
I just watched an episode where he like fessed up to using magnums. So you're in.
I saw that. What I know.
You're in.
He's
for
like,
it.
these are the ones that I use too. I was like, excuse me. I'm gonna kill Tan.
What?
He doesn't give anything. Like, what? He's gonna make me look good? I already look good. I don't need that.
Oh shit!
Your cut off jorts beg to differ.
Fucking nothing wrong with jorts.
Tan would beg to differ. That's why he's killing him. It's about the jorts.
Yeah, it's all about the jorts. And then I need to have Bobby and Gay Colin as my as my 2 best friends.
Interesting.
I feel like they can balance each other. I feel like Bobby has a real darkness that he hasn't let out. I mean, you see that in that first episode. I mean,
well, there was also the episode where they find like the leather harness and that. And
oh my god!
in
right?
the closet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about you, Colin?
Colin hasn't watched it yet. We should ask him this next week. You've seen
the characters, haven't you?
We should ask him next week.
Yeah,
after he's watched
ask me next
week. Okay, we'll ask you next week. Anyways, if you want to send in questions like Marry Fuck Kill,
Marry Fuck Kill Queer Eye,
yes, you can do so through our various social media presence, like
Facebook at
Dr. DC Podcast,
Instagram at
Dr. DC Podcast,
Twitter at
Dr. DC.
Don't forget our email, which is
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
Over on our websites,
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
And make sure to go over to iTunes. We got What Colin Does, which we haven't seen for a long time today.
Was awesome.
But if you just go onto iTunes, create an account, or use the one you already have, give us a 5-star review and write something, and we'll make sure we'll read it on the podcast. Getting those reviews helps us out a lot, gets us on the new and noteworthy sections, and helps us sort of rank up and make us more popular, and then we can do more fun stuff for you guys. And then we're on a bunch of the other platforms, Spotify, Google Play. I'm trying to get us on TuneIn because apparently that's what Teslas have.
Oh, okay.
So I want to get us played in Teslas.
Yeah, the people who drive Teslas would listen to us.
Yeah. The nobody on a if you listen to this podcast and have a Tesla, message us because I want to make sure that we properly service you.
I would love to see that Venn diagram.
Yes, please. I'm very, very curious to who that person is. Because I know that it's only one person, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure that you do that, and it'll definitely help us out. And we should be anywhere that you need us to be.
That's awesome.
Okay, cross 2 with 2 for life.
Yep, just throwing another shout out for you, buddy.
Hell yeah.
Well, some kind of sign off.
Adios.
I already kick cross 2 with 2 again.
Also, still.
I blew my load earlier.
Still for life.
Yeah.
Still for life.
All the superheroes, they always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure, they are men of light.
It wasn't about murdering her, it was about murdering him.
Right.
And wearing him as a skin suit.